Hi there, welcome back. Today I have an interesting question for you. Why are you interested in photography? I know why I was interested in photography. When I was a young boy, I was always going through my dad's National Geographic magazines and looking through all these interesting photos from all these places all over the world. And I was asking him, how did these photographers actually capture these images? And he actually showed me a image that his brother took of him playing poker with himself at a table. And he was actually pointing a gun at himself playing poker, and obviously in the guise of, hey, you're cheating, because my dad was holding aces on the one side. So he was like threatening himself. But he appeared twice in the image. It was a double image, double exposure. It was a black and white photograph taken in the day by his brother, a professional photographer as well. And it was so interesting to me because I didn't know how it was done. And this sparked my interest in photography way back then. I couldn't figure it out. Eventually he explained it to me, and I still didn't get it because I couldn't understand how people could appear twice in the same frame. And it was only later, when I learned the process of film and how film was exposed, that I actually learned how this double exposure was achieved. I found it so intriguing. I couldn't get over it, and this sparked my interest in photography. This one image sparked my interest in photography, and through the years, I became more and more inquisitive about different kinds of photography and different kinds of captures. And eventually, I got my first camera, and the rest is history. So, why did you get into photography? Or if you haven't started yet, why not? Like, are there barriers that are standing in your way in starting this journey? Now, I have a couple of different camera systems here on the table. We have something simple like this is a Fuji X20. This is a compact camera, but has a larger than normal image sensor, and it has all the manual controls that you might need right in the top here. It has a built-in lens, so it's very simple, and it zooms just like that. I chose this camera because it's a great travel companion, and you might have chosen something similar and you just don't know how to use it. Or maybe you've purchased something like a mirrorless camera, and a mirrorless camera also has these functions, to various degrees. And maybe you purchased a larger camera and you don't know how to use it. Maybe a large mirrorless camera or a DSLR, and it's just been gathering dust on the shelf because you haven't learned how to use it. Now, what if I told you I had a solution for helping you learn how to use your camera? I think it was Edward Steichen that said that a photograph is made on either side of the camera, not inside it. And I'm a great believer in that, because I believe that this is the tool that you use to capture photographs, but great photography actually happens on either side of it. So, for example, what I mean is, if you're photographing people, it's the person that you're photographing, it's the talent that actually makes the photo, and how you interact with the talent that determines whether the photo is successful or not. If you're photographing, for example, a landscape, the subject matter is the landscape, and the photo is your vision of the landscape. But how do you achieve that? So the camera is the tool that you use to bridge the gap, but the camera doesn't actually make the photograph. You make the photograph. There's a big difference there, because that's like telling a chef that if they cooked a great meal, their oven must be great, right? So it's not about the camera, it's about the vision behind the image. But you still need to know how to use the camera to achieve that vision. And it's that bridge, it's that disconnect that often gets us really, really confused and demotivated. So I've actually created a course that takes you from absolutely a beginner to competent using your camera. And my website, braintechphotoskills.com, is the start for this. So all you need to do is go to braintechphotoskills.com and register for the course. It's super affordable. I'm actually going to show you the website right now. So if you have a look over here, this is the Brain Tech Photo Skills website, and it shows you everything that you need to know about the course. Tells you a little bit about me and about how I started teaching. A little bit about me. I started teaching back in 2005 in South Africa. I started doing one-on-one workshops with students, and I started teaching people how to use your camera and how to see photography, because I started shooting photography just out of high school, and I started and I never looked back, and it has been a game changer in my life. It's been a lifelong journey for me, and from teaching students in 2005, when I moved to Canada in 2010, I continued teaching students one-on-one, and eventually taught classes for the camera store, and then also for SAIT's continuing education as photography certificate of achievement. So I taught that for 2 years, and then I went on with my professional photography and eventually developed this course as a solution for you to shortcut your learning, so that learning photography isn't an obstacle for you anymore. It needs to become second nature. Once it becomes second nature, you can truly express yourself. Have a look through the rest of the site here. I'm going to show you some of the features. So I'm explaining a lot of how the course works and giving some practical examples. And you can also have a look at my work, my portfolio of work of landscapes and scenics and interesting family photography and all those kinds of fun pictures that you'd want to take, vacation photos, things like that, things that you'd like to improve your ability to capture are shown here as an examples here on the website here. So right at the bottom, I've got a surprise for you. If you want to jumpstart your journey, I have a manual mode cheat sheet that you can download for free, and just enter your email address down at the bottom of the site and it'll send you an instant download link. You can view it in the browser or download it, whichever you prefer, and that will jumpstart you into at least starting how to learn photography. Here we have the course itself. I call this the Camera Zero to Hero course, and it is designed to take you from absolute novice to being competent in using your camera. Right? So let's have a look through some of these pages. Just a little bit about me. If we have a look at the chapters that are available here, we can see that I cover the overview of controls, camera bodies, camera lenses, white balance, shutter speed, stops, exposure compensation, focus points, focus modes, focus bracketing and stacking, HDR, metering patterns, drive modes. I can go on and on. Let me page through some of the pages here. Here you can see overview of controls, camera bodies. I go through all the differences in the camera bodies, and that even though the camera bodies look different, they're mostly the same. Most have the same controls, but they're just located in different places. And once you know what the controls do, it's like playing a musical instrument. Once you know what the control means, once you know what that term means for all the different controls on the body, like white balance and drive modes, you'll know where to find it. And when you see it, you'll recognize it, or just check the manual, see where it's found, and then familiarize yourself with your camera. And you'd be able to quickly change these settings on the fly. And furthermore, you can actually set up your camera to have custom modes so that you can quickly go to those settings and not spend forever setting it up every single time you want to photograph a certain kind of subject matter. So I go over this as well in the course, and you can see I'm going through like all about camera lenses. I go through focal lengths and their effects on images. I go through sensor sizes, which is a big factor in determining what kind of camera you're going to purchase in the first place. Sensor size is a big factor that comes into play. And whether you're using your camera or whether you're using your phone, you can apply the same kind of principles, except for maybe exposure control via the aperture, because phones don't have immediate control over the aperture function, unlike a digital camera does. And that's probably one of the main reasons you're going to want to graduate from the phone to a digital camera, is the ability to change lenses, photograph in lower light, and manually control your settings like aperture, and fully control ISO in low light with like one of these cameras is way better than a phone. So this course goes all over white balance, and it explains concepts like shutter speed, ISO, and aperture to it in a way that is easy and intuitive to understand. I've presented other courses throughout my career, and I've presented other people's work throughout my career, other people's content, and I was never quite happy with how it presented. So what I've done with this course is I've hand typed this from memory. It took me a long time. I take you through all the camera concepts one by one so that you understand it clearly and legibly, and you'll remember it for life. So have a look through my website. If you like what you see, sign up. What have you got to lose? You might learn something, and you might learn it for life. Thank you for joining, and I'm going to put my link to the course at the end of this video, and it's probably at the bottom here already. And there's also a link in the description. And remember that free manual mode cheat sheets download is at the bottom of my website. So just type in your email address and you'll get an instant link to download that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on the next one.